43%. That's the number that stopped me cold. 43% of the profit lost in mid-sized manufacturing isn't from bad sales, and it's not from supply chain issues. It's from defective parts that humans missed, and the massive cost of paying those humans to look at parts all day. The solution to this is a business model so boring, so unglamorous, that Silicon Valley tech bros completely ignore it. But a guy on a business forum last year admitted his small integration agency clears $40,000 a month doing exactly this. You probably know someone who never talks about money, never shows off, but whenever they need it, the money's always there. Their secret is a business that sounds boring. After reviewing hundreds of business models and real operator stories, I found one that generates income with the least effort once it's set up. It's hiding in plain sight on factory floors. My name is George. Let's get into it. When you hear the phrase artificial intelligence, you probably think of chatbots, image generators, or college students trying to write essays without actually writing them. You think of billions of dollars in venture capital and massive data centers. Let's start with something you see every day and never think about. A plastic bottle cap, a metal screw, a cardboard box. Before those items reach you, they're manufactured in the millions, rolling down conveyor belts at blinding speeds. And standing next to those conveyor belts are human beings. Their entire job is to stare at a blur of plastic or metal for 8 hours a day, looking for a scratch, a dent, or a misaligned label. It is exhausting, mind-numbing work. People get tired, they blink, they miss a scratch. That scratched part goes into a larger assembly. The assembly fails. The product gets recalled. The factory loses millions of dollars, not to mention their reputation. For decades, the solution was traditional machine vision. Big, clunky systems from massive corporations that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and required a team of engineers with PhDs to operate. If a factory changed the color of the bottle cap they were making, the whole system had to be reprogrammed. It was rigid, it was expensive, and it was completely out of reach for small and mid-sized manufacturers. But then something shifted. The underlying technology of AI, specifically computer vision, became commoditized. The algorithms that allow a computer to recognize a dog in a photo are the exact same algorithms that allow a computer to recognize a microscopic crack in a piece of steel. And suddenly, you didn't need to be a massive tech conglomerate to build these systems. You just needed to know how to piece the off-the-shelf components together. This is where the business model comes in. You don't build the AI, you don't manufacture the cameras, you act as an integrator. You are the bridge between the high-tech world of machine learning and the low-tech, greasy, loud reality of a factory floor. Let me introduce you to a guy named Marcus. Marcus wasn't a computer scientist. He didn't go to MIT. He was an IT guy who learned about computer vision from YouTube tutorials. He realized that the factories in his Rust Belt hometown were bleeding money on quality control. Marcus walked into a local injection molding plant. The plant owner was losing 5% of his output to defects that his inspectors were missing. Marcus didn't pitch him artificial intelligence. He didn't talk about neural networks or deep learning. He pitched a solution. He said, I can put a camera over this conveyor belt that will automatically kick the bad parts off the line. It will run 24 hours a day, it won't take coffee breaks, and it won't ask for health insurance. The owner agreed to a pilot program. Here's exactly how Marcus built the system. He bought an industrial camera for $100. He bought specialized LED lighting for $800. Because in machine vision, consistent lighting is actually more important than the camera itself. He bought a heavy-duty edge computing PC for $2,000. Total hardware cost, $4,000. He didn't write a custom AI model from scratch. He used a commercial, off-the-shelf platform. He set up the camera and took 200 pictures of perfect parts. Then he took 50 pictures of parts with scratches, dents, and defects. He uploaded the images to the platform, highlighted the defects, and clicked train. Within a few hours, the AI had learned what a bad part looked like. Marcus installed the system on the factory floor. He charged the owner $25,000 for the setup. Let's do the simple math. Marcus collected $25,000. His hardware costs were $4,000. His software licensing and miscellaneous expenses were maybe another $2,000. That is a gross profit of $19,000 for a project that took him 3 weeks to complete. But here's the thing. That $19,000 is just the beginning. It's the bait. The real magic of this business model, and the pattern you'll see in the most successful boring businesses, is recurring revenue. A factory floor is a dynamic environment. Dust settles on the camera lens. A new shift manager changes the overhead lighting. The factory starts producing a slightly larger bottle cap. When these things happen, the AI model gets confused. It starts flagging good parts as bad. It needs to be adjusted. It needs to be retrained. Marcus didn't just sell a one-time installation. He sold a monthly maintenance contract. For $1,400 a month, he monitors the system remotely. If the model needs retraining, he handles it. If the factory introduces a new product line, he adds it to the system. Let's do the math again. If you install this system in just 10 factories, charging $1,500 a month for maintenance, you have $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's $180,000 a year, almost entirely profit, for managing systems that largely run themselves. The boring factor is the advantage. Nobody's competing with you because nobody thinks it's exciting enough to try. The tech bros in Silicon Valley want to build the next billion-dollar app. They don't want to put on steel-toed boots and hard hats. They don't want to run Ethernet cables across a dusty factory floor. They don't want to deal with the unglamorous reality of manufacturing. And that is exactly why this opportunity exists. Let me be honest with you for a moment. This business is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is hard work. Here's what nobody tells you about AI and manufacturing. The biggest hurdle isn't the technology. The biggest hurdle is the data infrastructure. Most mid-sized factories don't have pristine databases. They have machines from 1995 running on floppy disks. They have operators recording defects on paper clipboards. When you walk in as an integrator, you are effectively functioning as a data wrangling service. You have to clean up their mess before you can even begin to apply AI. And then there's the death by dashboard problem. A lot of startups come into this space and build beautiful software dashboards that show the factory manager exactly how many defects occurred on a Tuesday. The problem is, factory managers don't have time to stare at dashboards. They are fighting fires all day long. If you just give them more data, they will ignore it. The successful integrators, the ones making the real money, don't build dashboards. They build assistants. They connect the AI camera directly to a programmable logic controller, a PLC, so that when a bad part is detected, a mechanical arm physically knocks it off the line. They provide a red light that flashes when the system needs attention. They integrate into the workflows that already exist on the floor. Think about it like you're a kid. It's the difference between telling your mom that your room is messy versus actually picking up the toys. The dashboard just points out the mess. The integrated system picks up the toys. There's a lesson here that repeats across several businesses in the B2B space. You don't sell technology, you sell a business outcome. The factory owner doesn't care if you use a neural network or a sophisticated algorithm. They care that their scrap rate went from 5% to 1% and their yield went up. If you can prove that your system saves them $100,000 a year in wasted materials and labor, charging them $30,000 for the installation and $1,500 a month is a no-brainer. It's an investment with a guaranteed return. According to industry reports published in 2025, the global machine vision market is expected to grow dramatically over the next decade. But the real growth isn't in the massive enterprise-scale deployments that cost $500,000. The real growth is in the mid-market, the thousands of small and medium-sized factories that have been completely ignored by the big players. Michael Gerber puts it in a way I never forget in his book, The E-Myth Revisited. He talks about the difference between working in your business and working on your business. When you are the one staring at the conveyor belt, you are working in the business. You are trapped. When you install a system that does the staring for you, you are working on the business. You are building an asset. As an AI integrator, you are helping factory owners make that transition. You are selling them freedom. And the uncomfortable truth is that many people will watch this video and dismiss it. They will say it sounds too complicated. They will say they don't know how to code. But the people actually doing this aren't writing code. They are using drag and drop interfaces. They are using no-code AI platforms. They are leveraging tools that abstract the complexity away. The barrier to entry isn't technical skill. The barrier to entry is the willingness to get your hands dirty. Consider two people, Daniel and Alex. Daniel lives in a major city. He wants to be a tech founder. He spends 6 months building an AI-powered content generation app. He launches it on Product Hunt. He gets a few hundred users, but he's competing against 5,000 other apps doing the exact same thing. His margins are squeezed to zero. He gives up and goes back to his corporate job. Alex lives in a Midwestern town surrounded by industrial parks. He doesn't know how to build an app, but he knows that the local factories are struggling to find reliable workers for their quality control lines. He buys a $200 camera, sets up a test rig in his garage, and learns how to train a vision model using a commercial platform. He walks into the factory down the street and offers to run a free pilot on one machine. 6 months later, Alex has installed systems on 5 different lines. He charged $20,000 per installation. He has all 5 lines on a $1,500 monthly maintenance contract. He's making $7,500 a month in recurring revenue, plus the installation fees, and he has 0 competitors in a 50-mile radius. Daniel chased the exciting idea and failed. Alex chased the boring idea and built a cash-flowing asset. The money isn't hiding in the exciting ideas. It never was. It's hiding in the boring ones that nobody else wants to do. It's hiding in the dusty corners of manufacturing plants, solving problems that aren't glamorous, but that businesses will pay handsomely to eliminate. Ask yourself first whether you want to compete with thousands of people trying to be the next tech visionary, or if you want to quietly build a profitable system where there is no competition at all. The question isn't whether AI is going to change manufacturing. That is already happening. The question is whether you are going to be the one who integrates it or the one who watches from the sidelines. Hit that like button. It helps a lot. Subscribe if you want us to keep talking about real money and business strategies. Tell me in the comments if you've ever worked in a factory and what you think about this shift. I'm George, and I'll see you in the next video.